All right, Harmony Science Academy, Algebra 2. We're going to be looking at recursive formulas and explicit formulas and exponential formulas instead of functions formulas because they're all related. Okay, there's a lot happening here, but like always, we're going to simplify the process so you can do a lot in a very efficient way. Okay, so again, this is not a child's play, okay? There's a lot going on here, pretty intense, okay? So you'll definitely need to appreciate what you're doing, okay? From the TEAC to vocabulary, this essential understanding, and then we'll take some time and kind of read our little intro, okay? So anyways, I will repeat it again. This is big boy stuff. The fact that we're going to hopefully turn this to very easy material doesn't mean it's really not easy, okay? It's pretty advanced math, very useful. So yeah, let's go and get into it, okay? So I'm going to give you the skeleton for every single formula so that it doesn't change, okay? All you're going to do is put in the specific details. So you are encouraged to write the recursive formula first, okay? Once you do a couple of these, you'll understand why. Okay, so you're gonna write this notation. Whoops. Okay, so it's more about notes right now, and then in class we can kind of talk about the what everything kind of means. Okay, I'll make an effort here, but essentially we're gonna need class time, okay, to develop our conversation. Okay, so in general, okay, I guess it'll help if we look at a sequence. Okay, so if I was to create a table, okay, this is first position, second position, third, and fourth position. Okay, so we can call those positions N. Okay, position 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one over here, we can essentially call it A N. Why? Because there's an actual value in position 1, which is a 3. Right? In position 2, there's an actual value, -9, so on and so forth. Okay? So, I guess for your notes, we can do something like that. So, we'll say N. Okay, we'll create this little table here. And you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Over here, you have an actual value in this position 1, which is A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay? So this, oops, I misspelled formula here. Okay? So this is a formula that tells you the position. Okay? If you care about, let's say, the value in the fourth position, you would take R, the rate, and multiply times the position before 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, so some rate times 3. Okay, we'll go in there. So, again, let's take a quick peek at what I'm going to do with you guys. I'm going to end up doing this problem. So here's the A1, A2, A3, A4. Okay. And the rate, what is the rate? Okay, or the common ratio. If you notice, if I multiply 3 times -3, okay, but we'll talk about that further. So that's the ratio that -3 times 3 is -9. -9 times -3 is +27. 27 times negative 3 gives me negative 81. Okay? So that's the common ratio. And again, this is the skeleton. Okay? The specifics, you guys will fill it in. And here you're asked specifically for A1. Okay? It's important to know where we start. So generically, that's A1. According to this, 3 would have been A1, or will be when we do it. Okay? But every time you do one, you're going to have these ingredients. Okay? Now, once you do the recursive formula, explicit formula is a lot easier than doing it all by itself. Okay? So you're going to have AN equals A1, okay, times R, and up here we're going to have N minus 1. Okay? You can see how this is, from this information, everything's going to come down here, explicit information. So your careful hard work here is going to pay off here, and it's going to pay off here because of this one right here. Okay? So there is at least one question on CBA that's going to ask you or involve an exponential function or formula. Okay? So let me use this notation to kind of get us there. Okay? So we're going to turn it into y equals A1 times R n minus 1. Okay? So notice how I'm going to build my exponential formula using this information. Okay? Now, the trick here is to take A1, divide by this R, and because we're doing that, we can lose one of these R's up here. Okay, so we're going to go, or gain an R, sorry. Rn. Okay? There's some pretty cool algebra happening here. I'm not going to bog you guys down with it. You definitely should play with it. But this is our process to developing our function or exponential formula. And now we simply call it f of x. Okay? This shouldn't be hard. Okay? You'll calculate that, whatever that is. And now we'll have x as our official variable, so we have completed our exponential formula. Okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and put it into practice. Okay? Just FYI, this is additional information. Determine if the sequence is geometric. What this basically means is that the pattern involves multiplication of the same value. Okay? There could be a pattern where you add the same value. That's arithmetic sequence, so be careful with that. Okay? We're gonna talk about that and run into those situations. I'll show you how to find it real quick. Okay? If it is geometric, or if there's a pattern that involves multiplying the same number, find the common ratio, the explicit formula, and the recursive. So they switch it here for you guys. Do the recursive first. Okay? Explicit and then exponential formula. Now the tip is make sure that the pattern involves multiplication by the same value. Okay? So let's look at this one here real quick. 4 times 4 is 16. Times 4 would be 64. But something else happened here. So this already is not geometric. So you would not do this one. Okay? Now, on this one, 3 times negative 3. Okay? Gives me this. Negative 9 times negative 3 gives me this one. Okay? And negative 3 times 27 gives me negative 81. So you have to check that. Okay? There's the pattern that is geometric, so I am going to be able to do this one. Okay? So I'm going to use my notes. Okay? I get you guys don't like copying, so definitely make sure you have your notes accessible. Okay? Let's go green. Maybe it'll stand out a bit more. Okay, so recursive formula. Okay. You definitely want to put that title up here. Okay, recursive formula. So I'm gonna look how easy this is. I already found R. This is the common ratio. Okay, this is the common ratio. Okay. So I'm gonna have A N equals R is the common ratio, -3. Okay, and if we want to be super cool, we'll put parentheses around the common ratio times an-1. And for recursive formula, we do need to clarify who is the first term. A1, so we go back to the list, it's 3. Okay, this is A1. Done. Okay, now let's try and do the explicit formula. Okay, notice how cool this is. Okay, now for the explicit formula, I'm going to go an, which equals A1. Be careful, I get to borrow A1 from here, which is a 3. I'll be cool and put some parentheses, times R. Okay, R is up here, R is a common ratio. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put that bad boy in here, and I need n-1 as an exponent. Notice the difference. n-1 is an exponent. Here it's a subscript. Okay, so you better get those. This guy flying up here, this guy submarine underground. Okay, and now we're going to jump to exponential formula, and I'll tell you why that's important for those of you guys always chasing that 100. Okay, so first let's start off with y equals A1 times, okay, so I'm basically copying this. Alright, now I'm going to jump to this step. Y equals 3 divided by -3, okay, because the common ratio is the -3, times the common ratio, -3, n. Okay, so since we have an r over here, we gain 1 over here. Okay, that's that algebra balancing out. And finally we have f of x equals -1. I forgot to continue being cool here. Okay, times -3, and we have officially transitioned over to y and x. Okay, so there you go. Now listen to this. The reason that we're actually doing all this now, if this is difficult for whatever reason, recursive and explicit is the most important aspect. Okay, so you're perfect here. This really is an investment into just one question on that CVA. Why? Because you're actually going to start off with this on one of the questions. Okay, those of you guys who really pay attention to detail, if they give you that, you'll create a list like this, then you'll find the common ratio, and then you can give them recursive formula or explicit with a lot of confidence. Okay, all right, appreciate your time. Catch you in class, guys.